Listen up, because what they taught you in school about pirates is mostly horseshit. These weren't just drunken idiots with parrots and peg legs singing yo ho ho. No, pirates were the original gangsters of the ocean. Democratic, cutthroat, freedom loving motherfuckers who flipped the bird to empires and made kings shit their silk pants. For about 30 years in the early 1700s, a bunch of them turned the Caribbean and beyond into their personal playground of terror. This is the real story of the golden age of piracy. Buckle up, because it's bloody, it's insane, and it's way more badass than the movies. Imagine this. It's 1715. The War of Spanish Succession just ended. Thousands of battle-hardened sailors got tossed out on their asses. No more Navy pay, no more glory. What do you do when you've spent years fighting for assholes in powdered wigs? You grab a ship, raise the black flag, and start robbing the bastards who screwed you. These guys weren't born criminals. They were made by the system. And holy shit, did they make the system pay. Enter Edward Teach. You know him as Blackbeard. This dude wasn't just a pirate. He was a walking psychological warfare machine. Picture a 6-foot-tall monster with a massive black beard, braided into pigtails, lit fuses dangling from under his hat so he looked like the devil himself emerging from smoke. He'd board ships with pistols in both hands, knives in his teeth, screaming like a demon. One account says he once set his own ship on fire just to freak out the enemy. Who does that? A man who understood fear was worth more than cannons. But here's where it gets wild. Blackbeard wasn't some lone wolf psycho. Pirates actually ran one of the most democratic outfits in history, centuries before that fancy American Revolution bullshit. Every crew voted on captains, divided loot almost equally. Captain got maybe 2 shares, you got 1. And they had rules, the pirate code. No stealing from each other, no fighting on board, and if you got hurt in battle, compensation from the common fund. Lost a leg? Boom, a payout. These outlaws built better social security than most countries at the time. Mind-blowing, right? Now, let's talk about the women, because fuck yeah, there were women pirates kicking just as much ass. Anne Bonny and Mary Read, 2 absolute legends. Anne was married to a small-time pirate, but ditched him for Calico Jack Rackham. She fought alongside the men, pistol and cutlass, and witnesses said she was fiercer than most of them. Mary Read, she spent years disguised as a man in the Navy and Army before joining the pirate life. When their ship was captured, the men were tried and hanged, but Anne and Mary both pleaded their bellies, meaning they were pregnant and got spared. Anne supposedly told Jack on the way to the gallows, "If you'd fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanging like a dog." Savage. The treasure hunts? Yeah, there was gold. Spanish galleons loaded with silver from the New World were prime targets. But most pirates didn't bury shit on deserted islands like in the cartoons. They spent that money fast, whoring, gambling, drinking in places like Nassau in the Bahamas, which was basically a pirate republic. For a few glorious years, these guys ran a lawless haven where the only rule was don't fuck with your crew. Black Bart Roberts, another legend, captured over 400 ships. 400! The man was a machine. He dressed like a dandy in silk and gold while obliterating merchant fleets. His flag showed him standing on skulls with an hourglass, basically saying, "Your time's up, bitches." But it wasn't all rum and glory. Pirate life was brutal as hell. Scurvy, dysentery, rotten food crawling with maggots. You fought in brutal hand-to-hand combat where you'd hack limbs, spill guts, and hope you didn't get an infected wound that'd kill you slower than a bullet. And the torture? Jesus. They'd do things like the sweat, forcing victims to run between 2 lines of pirates slashing at them, or keel hauling, dragging a man under the ship so barnacles shredded his skin. One pirate crew made a captured captain eat his own ears. These guys didn't mess around. What about the myths, the walking the plank? Mostly made up later. Pirates preferred ransom or just sinking ships after taking what they wanted. And parrots? Sure, some sailors had them as pets, but they weren't everywhere. The real pirate symbol was the Jolly Roger, that black flag with skulls and swords. Different captains had their own versions to strike terror before they even fired a shot. Psychology, baby. By the mid-1720s, it was over. The British Navy got serious, hunting them down with bigger ships and better pay for hunters. Blackbeard died in a legendary battle off North Carolina in 1718. Shot, stabbed, decapitated, and his head hung from the bowsprit as a warning. His crew scattered. Others got hanged in chains, their bodies left to rot in ports as a message. This is what happens when you fuck with Empire. Yet their legend exploded. Why? Because deep down, people loved these rebels. They represented freedom from the brutal hierarchies of the age. No kings, no bosses, just skill, votes, and balls. They attacked the slave trade sometimes too, freeing Africans who then joined crews as equals. In a world built on chains, these outlaws offered something closer to liberty. Today, their spirit lives on in every underdog story, every hacker taking down corporations, every rebel saying, "Screw your rules." Pirates showed that a small, determined crew could challenge the most powerful empires on Earth and win for a while. So next time you see a pirate movie with Johnny Depp prancing around, remember the real ones were harder, smarter, and way more terrifying. They didn't just steal treasure, they stole power. And for one blood-soaked decade, they made the oceans theirs. What do you think? Would you have joined a pirate crew? Drop your answer in the comments, smash that like button if this fired you up, and subscribe for more raw history that doesn't sugarcoat shit. The past was brutal, but damn, it was alive.